Hi, ladies.
What's up?
I'm so sorry about that.
No,
okay, I'm getting Yaffa in. Sometimes these things happen.
It's called life. You know what I'm saying?
It's called life. It's called life. I'm pressing accept.
Look at you being so technologically advanced.
It's not like this is the first time I've done this.
I know. I was going to say, it's not like the first live you've ever done. Hi,
Okay.
Tommy Singer.
I'm pressing the accept button for Yaffa, and it's physically not working as I press the blue button.
You're joking.
Oh my gosh, and there are 90 people available.
I have a very dedicated file. By the way, I just want to tell you how beyond like family, like my Instagram page is a family. I want to tell you to what extent. I can't. It won't let me scroll up.
Yay!
Yay!
Hello! I was just saying, Yaffa, I'm pressing accept, and this pop-up comes up that says, Yaffa is unable to join. I don't know. But
I am so able to join.
We need to give Alex like a 101 crash course. I want to just say, by the way, one shout out to like my little Instagram family here. I love them so much. Someone wrote, we can finally see your whole face. The last few lives that I did were like, middle of the night, I go like this. I do like a little bit, like a half a face. I can finally see your whole face. I love you. What's up, women? It's so nice to see you.
And this is like real life here. Yeah, Shaindy, you're in the car. I'm hearing the like blinker.
Beyond.
I'm so excited to be here. How are you, ladies?
Thank you thank you first of all, Yaffa, and thank you, Shaindy, for taking your time. It is late, but I figure it's Thursday night, and in Jewish families, people are on Instagram. You know, they're like cutting up their vegetables for their chicken soup, and they're checking out what's going on Instagram. So it's really actually prime live time in the Jewish world, and here we are. My name is Fletcher. I don't know if you want to call me, I started to call myself recently the face of Faces of Orthodoxy. There are lots of faces on Faces of Orthodoxy. We highlighted one this week, one story, and that's Batsheva's story. Part 3 was today. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. Yaffa and Shaindy, did you guys get a chance to take a look at what we're doing over at Faces of Orthodoxy?
I love what you're doing. Ish, yes and no. I know Yaffa's answer is beyond.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Shoshana Polkoff, who's my very special friend, is saying that she really likes your podcast.
Thank you. That's something separate. This is not a DMC, although it is a DMC, and I have a podcast called Deep Meaningful Conversations. We have DMCs all the time.
All the time.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I want to say what I love. Again, I know that. So first, I want to just tell my followers, and I guess Yaffa, yours as well, and anyone that doesn't follow Faces of Orthodoxy, what it is. It's a beautiful new page that I think is so special. That I guess Alex, I'll let you talk about it, but I'll tell you what I love about it.
I think I'm asking you.
I think it's.
We can hear you.
Sorry, am I gonna be off? Am I gonna be like offbeat now because someone called me?
You are a little offbeat. Keep going.
I'm going to dive in that it gets better. Sometimes it improves within a minute or two.
You're fine. You're all good.
Oh, thank you, Hashem. I really appreciate that one, Hashem. That was really nice of you. Okay. So, what I love about it is that, I think that, we know that a lot of people have a misrepresentation of what lives people lead as Orthodox Jews. I know what I love is that me and Yaffa can both speak different areas because we both do different things and we both have different careers. And I think sometimes when people hear what, you're a Jewish woman and you're a singer, I don't get that. Aren't you Orthodox? And I'm like, yes. And Orthodox women can get on stages with big band. A lot of it is there's a lot of misrepresentation, a lot of misunderstanding as to what Orthodox actually means. And that's what I'm so excited to see. I can't even say I'm excited that you've done it because it's a brand new page, guys. But you're basically going to be, as far as I see, representing different faces of Orthodoxy and what, just really shedding light on what is actually there. And I'm grateful. I think it's a beautiful thing. When Alex asked me to join, I'm like, for this, of course, that's my thing.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. That really means a lot to me. And Yaffa, I'm curious your thoughts.
Look, I think that it's very important to represent ourselves as the true people that we are. And as Shaindy mentioned, there's a lot of misrepresentation, and it's nobody's fault. How should anybody know if we don't show them.
Right.
You know, so we have to show, we have an opportunity to show people who we are. And I really believe that the internet, Hashem created the internet for us. I really, truly believe that, so that we can be Marbit Torah to the entire world.
I think Shaindy likes what you're saying. We're also getting a lot of hearts on the screen, so I think a lot of people are liking what you're saying, Yaffa.
Good. Thank you. I'm sorry everybody agrees with me. This is a way that we can be Marbit's Torah to the entire world. Now, the potential that something has for Kedusha and for holiness, it also has the same potential in the opposite direction. So it's up to us to use it for the way Hashem intended it to be used for. And this whole, and having a social media platform, I think social media is the beginning of Kibbutz Galios.
Yes! Let's hear. I need to hear this. I've never heard this idea before.
Yaffa, I'm so happy you're saying this, because, I know a lot of people know that I am so big on this. I'm very big. And by the way, I just want to say, like, everything that Yaffa says strikes a chord with me. And, like, the best thing that Yaffa says it in the best way. Like, I can't, Yaffa, you're such a gifted human. It's unbelievable. And I just appreciate you. You're amazing. And I think,
you.
do you guys know, by the way, speaking of good things, you know how Yaffa and I met?
No, I really didn't know. I mean, I figured you guys knew each other because you're both like amazing leaders on Instagram.
Before I was a public face,
oh wow,
I had a private page, which, by the way, I know everyone, by the way, requests to follow it. I don't accept people. I don't use that page at all anyways. But I was a follower, okay? And I was following the one and only Yaffas Palti. And Yaffa is such an incredible human that she treats every single person that follows her like a literal friend. And I actually learned a lot from you like this, by the way, Yaffa. I learned a lot about, like, that concept and whatever. I'm going to keep it short because that's the point of life. Basically, Yaffa and I were literally just friends. And she invited the stranger, Shaindys Backstory, and she's like, "You're coming to Miami? Oh my gosh, come over." And I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." And I was like, "I'm going to have Palti the house." Like, so 4 years later, here we are, and she's a very dear friend. So I just think it's
Thank you. We stayed up all night that night. You came over
literally till 3 a.m. It was insane. But I want to just get back to the point that I was saying, because I see someone's writing here, internet can cause harm to 100%, and I'm one of the first people to say that. But I want to say this. I learned recently, not least recently, in general, everything Hashem put on this world is, and I know it's not the point of the live, so I'm not really going to dwell on this for a long time, but everything that Hashem put on this world, he gave equal potential for good and equal potential for bad. Something like, we're very easy to say, internet, you know what? Our mouths have equal potential for good and equal potential for bad. You can do so much harm with the words that come out of your mouth. Like, you can literally ruin someone's life. You can put them in jail. You can hurt them tremendously. But you know how much good you could do with the words that you say? You can do the exact opposite. It's up to you to use it for the good. And it's the same thing with the internet and the same thing with Instagram. I even say, some people are like against WhatsApp, but Instagram specifically I'm very grateful. I don't think I'd be doing what I do now if not for, I mean, you guys know I started like as a little fun hobby on Instagram, and then it blew up a little bit somehow. But I'm very big on that, Yaffa, and I appreciate you bringing it.
This is, remember, I remember I was encouraging you to get on Instagram and open up a page, and, I said, Klal Yisrael needs you. And the young girls in Klal Yisrael, they needed a role model like you. And I was very, very encouraging to you a few years ago to get on Instagram. You
always are, Yaffa.
Wow, I did not know this backstory. You should just know. I was like, I want to have a live. It's our first live on Faces of Orthodoxy. I want to talk about this issue of, like, why we should tell our stories and why we should try to represent ourselves. And we're going to get into that in a few minutes. And I don't know, I just was like, who would be great at this conversation? And I thought of both of you, but it's so nice to know the backgrounds here.
I'm very, very honored to be like, the fact that you thought of Yaffa and then you thought of me. And I'm like, I'm a potato.
So cute. Okay. You're adorable. I love it. Thank you.
Okay, so we just shared a lot of love.
And so now I have a little bit of that. And I really agree based on what you're saying. I just want to add that most things in life are neutral. They really are. They're not inherently good or bad. They're really neutral. And we determine whether they're positive or negative by the way we use them. If we abuse it, we turn it into something negative. If we respect it, we turn it into something positive. And it's like that with everything. We can bring examples, shopping, everything. It could be positive. It could be negative. It doesn't, so that's really what it is. And I believe what I said before, that Hashem created the internet for us. Why do you think it was created? right? It was created for us. So we have the opportunity to use it for the greatest potential, to spread Torah around the world, to create connections and love, between each other. Or we don't even have to give examples of how it could be used in the opposite.
It's amazing. And Yaffa, you're actually reminding me. It's so interesting. I never really thought about this in this way, but I'm a teacher and I teach Parshas Bereshis. I teach first grade. It's best Parsha to teach. And one thing I teach the girls is that when Hashem was creating the world, everything was created so that we could live our lives in the most Torah-ic way. Because Hashem first made a Torah, and then and then Hashem said, I need to have people to learn the Torah, but people can't live like Malachim. They need a world in it. So everything that was created, firstly, I love that, like, Hashem created every single thing for us, but if Hashem created the internet, we're not going to get into this.
This whole live could be about the internet. Well, it is a tool, and there's no question, just like a tool, like you said, Yaffa, can be used to hurt and can be used to build. I think that's what we're trying to do here with Faces of Orthodoxy. I know both of you use social media and use the internet for like L'Shem Shemaim and Kiddush Hashem purposes. Yaffa, for those of you who don't know, is a Torah educator. She's an inspirational speaker. Follow her if you don't. And Shaindys Plotzker is a singer and a songwriter. I mean, Shaindy, we just listened to your new song. What's it called? I forgot.
Thank you. It's called Holding On.
Holding On. Well, Baruch Hashem for Alexa. We also use that as a tool in our home. We do listen to Encanto, and we also listen to Shaindys Backstory. But it was so cute. My teenage daughter and my 2-year-old son, they were dancing in the middle of the kitchen to your music. I mean, look what you're providing for our children and for the next generation. So back to the account. We're really trying to create a positive space here and a real space here. There are 2 reasons, honestly. First of all, as Orthodox Jews, I mean, right now, Baruch Hashem, we have about 500 followers. We've gotten them just in the past few days. We so appreciate it. I can't tell you how many of those are from Jews. I'd imagine the vast majority of them. Why this account is important is we're telling the real stories with beautiful photography and these journal-style posts to shed a light on who we are in our communities. And we are not poster girls, right? We're going to use this phrase, like, we're not all like perfect and we're going to talk about this, realism versus perfectionism. That's not real. We don't want that. This is the age of the internet. We want authentic, So we're trying, as much as possible for however people are comfortable sharing their struggles and, being vulnerable about being Orthodox and being.
Is it sharing struggles? Is it sharing struggles of Orthodoxy, or is it sharing beauty of Orthodoxy, or both?
Beautiful. It's sharing stories. It's like sitting on a couch and learning about other people. If someone wants to share with us in the world, you know what, this mitzvah is difficult for me, we'll share that because it's just real, because we all experience that. If someone wants to share their struggle about work-life balance or, just something in their life, well, we're good with that too. We just want relatable. And we also want
Orthodoxy. It's a brilliant name. It's exactly
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And we also would love, and we put this account on LinkedIn, and we're getting responses from non-Jews who are saying, this is really fascinating. Like, we are learning about Orthodox Jews from the entertainment industry. And here's an opportunity to sit down and like, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, so you can be an Orthodox Jewish woman and run marathons and be a lawyer, and be valedictorian at Columbia. I mean, that's just one story. Next week, you'll see another one, and I'm not going to give you too many hints. We're a diverse group. We're showing women, woohoo, first.
I think, by the way, there's something so beautiful. Like, I've been like in and out of Instagram and so crazy preoccupied because I'm doing a bunch of shows now, but I think it's something that as Jews, we should be so proud. Like, I'm so excited to share your posts on my feed. Be like, I definitely have also non-Jewish followers, and even for Jews, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. But my focus really, when it comes to this whole concept, is a much more internal focus. I think that it's obviously there's something very powerful and important. We have to be, a light unto the nations. And of course, it's important to show who we are to the world. But truthfully, I think it's so important to show ourselves, each other, who we are, to inspire from internally within us, within the Jewish nation, within the Jewish community, because I think that everybody needs their flame to be reignited. And I think that at a certain point, people become jaded. We take it for granted, especially people who were born Shomer Shabbos and born Shomer Mitzvos. And, it's been so many years of doing the same thing. It does become a habit, and we get jaded. And I personally think that, working on internal inspiration just within the Frum community is really super powerful.
I totally agree. That right.
So happy.
I was gonna say that's where I was getting at. Also, that like I'm not just sharing it to show people who don't know what Orthodox is. Look, we're actually normal. It's also to say to the people who, like you're saying, like they're uninspired, by who 100%. We are.
100%.
Oh yeah, it has to overflow, like what you're saying. Like if we're not, our goal is not to. I mean, our goal, yes, is to make Kaddish Hashem, but our goal really, like day to day, isn't like, oh, we want to make sure we look good for the outside world. Yeah, so we're at the supermarket, when we're with our neighbors, when we're non-Jewish clients, we want to always make sure Kaddish Hashem is forefront. But like what you're saying, we have to be. We need to work on keeping ourselves inspired and connected, because it can't be fake. It has to overflow, and that's why some of the language that we use for the account is we're focusing on the heroes of faith. But here's the deal. If you're an observant Jew, if you're a religious Jew, if you are a traditional Jew who cares about their Judaism, you are a hero of faith. And we don't recognize that. We don't recognize how incredible it is to live our lives according to Torah. And I mean, honestly, just the discipline of it. Like, wow. I think about, I once wrote an article about the Ben Torah Balabais, like a Frum man who works, who's out there in the secular world, and this applies to Frum women too. Stop. We take it for granted. Do you know how incredible you are? With all of our nisyonos that we fail to, do you know that to be a religious person out there in the world who is strong, who's committed, who's passionate about their beliefs, and even if you're waxing and waning and it's going up and down, like stop for a moment and think how special and how incredible it is. So what we're trying to sort of do is shed light on that in a beautiful way and remind ourselves about the beauty of what we believe and who we are.
Mm-hmm. And my elevator pitch, when people ask me, like, what do you do, on Instagram, or what do you do? Like, what's your thing, to share the genius and joy of Judaism.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah, that's my,
right.
That it says that in my bio on Instagram.
Yes.
Like, that's
gorgeous.
That's what the genius and joy of Judaism, because we sometimes forget.
We need to be reminded. And we can
be
struggle through it too, by the way. Like, we can appreciate the genius, but be like, this is so genius, but it's really hard right now.
My brain is like worrying for you. I'm like such a content creator that my brain is like, you should ask everyone what their favorite mitzvah is. I'm like, my favorite mitzvah? It's not even your favorite mitzvah. This is a good one. Ready? You should ask people, which mitzvah makes you realize just how much Hashem loves you and plans for you. And for me, it's the mitzvah of Shabbos. As a kid, of course, I always loved Shabbos. What a family time. But the more I'm an adult and like I realize, I'm like, do you know what a gift it is that Hashem knew that there would come a time that we would be on our phones 24/7, and we would be so busy that somehow, even though we have washing machines which do the work of a 2-hour going to the river and it doesn't, we still don't have any time. I'm going to give you a day where you're forced just to reconnect with your family, to not be Hashem, like, it makes me realize the godless of Judaism every time. My family knows on Friday night comes, I'm like, Hashem loves us. He's obsessed with us, because it's the coolest thing. Like, I don't know, would I ever stop? I don't know. I don't think I'd ever stop, and I don't think I'd have that time to like. I mean, I would, but like, you know what I'm saying? When it's the most beautiful thing, and it makes me appreciate being a Jew. Every Friday night, I literally get excited, and something I actually teach my students. We do like a whole Shabbos unit, and we learn about like what is not just like, oh, I'm keeping Shabbos and I can't use my toys. It's like, why are we obsessed with Shabbos? Why do we love it? And why does it make us realize how much Hashem loves us? Anyways, as you're saying this, I'm just like, that's part of the beauty of Orthodoxy. There's so many, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to add, I mean, you're in the arts, Shaindy, okay? So when I watch your music video and I see how you've portrayed Jewish lifestyle, right? It's very inspiring because like, okay, I live my life, but when I see it, portrayed in a beautiful way, I think that adds meaning. So I think part of this is also like, let's photograph these moments, let's photograph these people, let's photograph these heroes and just show them in like a different light and tell their stories and like all of their beauty and all of their struggles. And that's really the hope. So to answer some of your questions, every single week we are profiling a different person. As I said, our first story is, breaking stereotypes, a woman who's juggling it all. Sometimes it isn't easy. We didn't want to show that it's a perfect, because it's not. And I'm so grateful to Bashova for sharing her story with us. We are having, we have a teenager coming up. We have obviously men, women, teens, all various ages, various denominations in Orthodoxy, various, hashkafas, Sephardi, Ashkenaz. We really just want to show the gamut, and we're getting there. So as you're following the account, if you're like, hey, wait a minute, why aren't you showing my particular brand of Orthodoxy? And we're going to be around a long time. We have shoots coming up.
And also reach out. Reach out. If you don't see yourself represented, reach out, because that's how we can know who you are.
Yeah, and I that you're having photo shoots. I love that you're doing this page so professionally. I really appreciate it.
Our photographer, I can't reveal who he is. Very special photographer, who's doing incredible stuff on Instagram, and he soon will be revealed. But yeah,
I feel like
coming time. I'll tell you what, in the media, especially like on Instagram, we often see depiction of the ultra Orthodox community, the Hasidic community, who will be on our account too. But we want to show that, because oftentimes people think like, oh, you're Orthodox, are you Hasidic? I mean, how many times have you gotten that type of question? That often happens. But I don't really see so much in the media. Certainly we're not in Hollywood. My aspirations is not to get to Hollywood. My aspirations is to get to Instagram and get to social media. Where have we shown the diversity of Orthodoxy? Where have we shown these faces, these stories of people? Because sometimes they're, the shows on Netflix who say, oh, Orthodox women don't get education. Like, let's just show the world, like, it's not true. And we'll prove it to you in a very positive way. Yaffa, you have something to add?
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. But
can I say something about sorry, it's not supposed to be like I'm obsessed with the Yaffa thing, but I appreciate Yaffa. I want to say that about like, one thing. Oh, Allison Joseph. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Allison Joseph is leading in this field. Absolutely.
No, but like when I see someone like Yaffa, for example, Yaffa, you're very eloquent. You are very eloquent. You are such an eloquent speaker, and you're so like, and what you're giving over is Torah. It's like when I see people that, I'm trying to think how to say this, like, that are doing something. I mean, even when I watch, any sort of talent being done for Torah, being done in an Orthodox way, it's very inspiring to me.
Yes.
But you could be using your speaking skills, which are like magnificent, for a lot of things. You could be like an advocate, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be advocate for this. And the fact
Yaffa
that
could be an actress. Am I right? Yaffa,
totally.
I was when I was out. I was doing Jewish things, but I love that stuff. I love it. But yeah, now I'm on stage in a different way. Now.
In a different way, for sure. Well, someone's just saying that you're real and relatable. You know what, Shaindy?
Thank you, Shani. I love you. I love all of you. I'm reading whatever comments I can read, and I wish I could just say thank you to each comment.
Finally, if you have a question, you can put it in the comments we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. I don't know how much more time we're going to spend, but please put your questions in the comment box or the question box down below.
Definitely.
What I wanted to say to you, Shaindy, when you're like in high school as a teenager, like you look up to the girls like 2 grades above you or a grade above you, like the role models. And I found as an adult, and certainly in the frum community, and I don't know if this is what you're getting to, like I still need role models. I really do. Like I really look up to other friends, women, and say like, wow, she's amazing at Bikur Cholim, or wow, she's such a great mom, or whatever it is. She's so dresses so seamlessly.
We all need inspiration. Yeah.
We need, I think that's how we grow.
I learned from my fellow singers. You should just know, like, what I love, and I always talk about this, is that, the industry, it's not so big. There's not so many of us, but I learned so much from each and every single one of my, I don't even say the word competitors. I don't look at it like that, but any other women singers in the industry, I really feel like everyone has their own special thing that I can learn from them. And I'm not talking from a business sense. I'm talking about from like something beautiful. I don't know. I don't want to start saying, because then if I say this about someone, I'm not going to leave someone out. But like, it's really beautiful to see. It really, really is. It's very special. We can learn from each other, even within.
I agree.
The same things that we do the same things. And, you know, if any of my singer friends are on here, I love you.
And also when people do things l'shem shamayim, there's a certain camaraderie, you know, and there's no competition, and it's not about that. No one's here for themselves. You know, we're here to serve Hashem, and this is how we're serving him. You know, and it's a beautiful thing.
There's a beautiful culture, Yaffa. I mean, we were a part of a couple of these groups of women on Instagram who are like, we're all supporting each other in all of our efforts to do that, you know, on social media. And it's not about competition. It's like how we can, it's very important. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys real briefly. We could be here all night.
Although I did not read any of the questions you sent me. I have no idea what you're going to ask.
We're schmoozing. We don't need to talk about everything that I have planned, but I want to talk to you guys about actual, you know, this is Faces of Orthodoxy. We're in the business of storytelling. We're telling people's stories. And it's sort of tricky because in the secular world, you know, when we're talking about like telling stories, whether it's in the media, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's on social media, there's a thing these days where everyone wants, like, it's called radical vulnerability. Like, we want gritty. We want to hear like all the details and like all the dirt and like everything. You know, that's real. Listen, we live in the age. I mean, we've been living in this age of what's it called? Reality TV. Like, that's just what this is. And why? Well, I think there's sort of a thrill. You know, there's like we like drama, but we also feel. We want to feel. We want to feel emotions, and when we can like really get into the nitty gritty of people's lives that may be crossing boundaries and may be inappropriate, and maybe just like oversharing. So something like what we're trying to do here is tell people stories, but is there a line where a frum person who's going to come on and have their pictures shown, and in our account we show their personal pictures of their lives to fill in the story, and have a photo shoot taken. One of our hosts actually asked us.
Shaindy wrote over here in the comments. She's like, "LOL, that's Yaffas pet peeve." Anyone who knows me knows Shaindy and I were giving each other eyeballs.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" The minute you said those words, I'm like, "Yaffa," and I talk about this on a monthly basis. We go back.
That's my trigger. It's my
What's the pet peeve? I missed it. Which part?
Oversharing and radical vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know,
so I can't wait to hear
topic. This whole topic, really.
Right. So we're fringers. We're not secular. I don't want to say this. We don't buy into that. We don't buy into bearing and sharing everything. We have constant sneers. We have conscious boundaries.
There's a balance.
So how do we do it? How are we going to achieve this? Because we also want to show reality, and we want to show vulnerability, because vulnerability is a good thing. But where do we draw that line into something like this kind of project?
I want to say just my personal opinion. There's a very big difference between you guys having other people share their vulnerable stories that they're comfortable to gain for a, you know, one thing that Yaffa and I discuss all the time, and I think this is really a big part of it. A big part of the oversharing, where the line comes is this for you or is this for someone else? My mother just texted me that I should not eat on Instagram Live.
I know. Someone's asking what you're eating, so I'm sorry. I'm just laughing.
No, my mother literally just WhatsApped me. She said, "Stop eating on Instagram Live."
You're being vulnerable.
No, that's not. It's just, I'm hungry. It's fine. I'll eat after.
No, and meanwhile, other people are telling you, "Teavon, what are you eating?" Like, people are very excited about your food.
That's what I'm saying. Someone just wrote, "What are you eating?" But your mother's like, "You can't eat on an Instagram."
No, okay.
Yeah, anyway.
Sorry, Ma. I love you. You want an amazing face of orthodoxy? That's my mother, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyways, so what I always say, and Yaffa and I discuss this literally on a constant basis, to me, where the line falls with oversharing is this to benefit myself or is this to benefit others? For example, you know, like that was a decision. I don't share too many personal things on my page because I don't. But like, for example, when I was going through my surgery, about this time last year, I had surgery, and I remember saying, like, should I share, should I not? Well, firstly, I didn't have to. I was like, I'm just going to disappear off Instagram for 2 months while I recover. And Shimmy actually was one who told me when she had her hip surgery, she had the same thing. Should I share, should I not? And she said, you know what, number one, like, basically it boiled down to not for me. Not like, oh, because I need sympathy, and because, no, like, firstly, I can, you know, hopefully show other people that are going through surgery that, like, you're not alone in this, and then I'm like, and show how, you know, certain things. And I ended up making the decision, even though it's like very against what I usually share. I ended up sharing. I also I did the surgery for my voice, which is like, you know, and a lot of people messaged me afterwards or during. They're like, oh my gosh, I needed the same surgery. Exactly. Shoshana Bach was saying, what's my motivation?
Yes,
Why
you read my mind. What's your motivation?
Exactly what it is. Why am I sharing?
I like to break it down to asking yourself this question: am I sharing to give or am I sharing to get?
Wow. Very simple question, actually.
Very simple. It's very simple. And it's something that you have to be very honest about. And I really think that it all boils down to authenticity. And even the word authenticity is misunderstood. Because I think
someone who commented, Yaffa, sorry, there's a difference between authenticity versus vulnerability.
Exactly. Right. Here's the thing. The thing is that I think very often people confuse authenticity and transparency. Transparency means sharing without boundaries. It means full exposure. And that's not necessarily authenticity at all. Authenticity means I am choosing what to share, but whatever I choose to share, because I'm asking myself these questions, am I sharing to give or am I sharing to get? How am I sharing? What am I sharing? With whom am I sharing it? Why am I sharing it? Once I choose and make a decision that this is necessary to share or important to share, then I share from an authentic place. That's the difference between authenticity and transparency. And I think we often confuse that. And this, by the way, is how I like to define tznius. People often define tznius as modesty. Truthfully, I don't think that's a Jewish concept. Modesty is not a Jewish concept. Modesty means I should not be seen, right? Nobody can see me. Tznius means discretion. Right? It means that I should be seen and I should be heard. And there's a big place for me here in this world, but with discretion. I need to pick and choose. What part of myself am I going to share? Who am I going to share it with? How am I going to share it? Why am I sharing it? That's what tznius is. And that's what, when it comes to sharing, that's my perspective on it.
Always. Exactly. Like literally every thought that was in my brain. Yeah, I love that too. So the way my brain words it is this for me or is this for others? That's what my way of saying giving or getting. Is this for me? Do I want to feel good? And therefore, do I need people's approval?
Do I want the validation?
Do I want the sympathy, the validation? Or am I doing this because I believe that someone else can benefit from it? And you should just know, by the way, it was a big reason of why I ended up going public with my music, because a big, I have a very hard time with like saying like, oh, I am amazing. To me, the concept of going public and like putting the music out there, is basically saying like, listen to me, I'm awesome. It didn't sit with what I find to be one of the most amazing mediums, which is humility. And it's something that I work on trying to say. So when I was back then, I'm talking like 4 years ago, Shimmy comes up in every conversation. I'm sorry. We've been through a lot together. Shimmy's me. I kept saying like, no. And then Shimmy flipped the switch for me. She's like, Hashem gave you something. You don't have a right to keep it to yourself. Think of what you can do with it. Think of how much inspiration and joy you can bring to others, and stop thinking about yourself. It's not about you. It's about what can you do with this.
What can you give?
What can you give?
Right.
And that's what ended up doing.
And that's what we need to understand about humility also. We often confuse humility and low self-esteem, right? Right? And we think that humility means that I can't think much of myself, but it's really the opposite. Right?
If
humility
you really have humility, you acknowledge, as I tell every bus mitzvah girl, by the way, who says that they can't sing on the mic and have a good voice, I just was on Boston and I said, I don't care. That's like the typical response. I don't really. Right. It's such a gorgeous voice. And I'm like, no. Acknowledge that you have it and then credit it to the one that gets it.
100%. You know, that's really what it means. Yeah, humility means I don't take up too much space and I don't take up too little space. I take up exactly the amount of space I'm supposed to take up. It means that I have a healthy relationship with my reality, with the cosmos around me. It means that I am 100% aware of my strengths and my weaknesses. I accept them all as the entire package. And it means that knowing that my strengths don't make me better than anyone else and my weaknesses don't make me worse than anyone else. But this is me, and I need to use everything that I have to serve Hashem. That's what true humility is. But it means having this awareness. Of course you have a talent. Of course I have a talent. We all do. And our job here, if we don't use the talents that Hashem gave us, you know what that is? It's baltashkas.
I was gonna say.
It's literally baltashkas.
Baltashkas. That's even better.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Truth. All truth.
So I want to share with you guys the process. Really, I've interviewed 9 subjects, and we have 9 stories ready to roll out. We're just so excited. Hopefully, we're going to be shooting our next set very soon. And keeping this in mind, like, these are amazing people that have decided to go public, but with humility. I mean, not one of them was like, "Oh, you're going to be making me famous," or anything like that. I mean, they understood the mission. They understood why this is important to tell their stories. And they're like, yeah, sign me up. I'm going to be the guinea pig. And some of them actually are on this live, and I'm seeing their names. And I'm like, they're my heroes. Like, I've just become so close to them in our whole journey. And all the text messages and all, oh, wait, I need to go back. I need to get a little more vulnerability from your story. Let's go back. But I will just share with you, it is important for us to have realism and have people, like, as I said, be relatable. We don't want to just show picture perfect people, and that's what we're going for. You have to be comfortable, and you have to know those guidelines and those boundaries of, like, this is too much sharing. This is just enough. And, as I said, I really applaud the people that participate in this. But, one of the subjects, I was talking to them, I'm like, can you tell me a little bit more struggle, more vulnerability? And this is like me, Palti Yisrael, okay? She said to me, she's like, yes, there is something I could say. Do I think people would relate to it? Yes. May people learn from it? Yes. May people get chizuk from my struggle? Yes. But I cannot share my struggle. It's about a child. It's about her relationship. She's a mother, her relationship with her child. And she is not going to blast it out on the internet because it's going to help someone or it's going to make this project better or whatever.
You see, that's another very, very important point that I wanted to mention before, and then we got sidetracked. Another very important point is to have in mind, who else are you exposing when you share?
Always.
We have to be so careful about that. Are there other people involved in your story?
That's right. Are you going to hurt other people?
How will it affect somebody else? It's super important. Unfortunately, yeah.
So that's why we have to be so careful about that as well. It's another level within vulnerability.
Yeah. So we're trying. Hopefully we get it right. We love your feedback. Baruch Hashem, we've had a lot of people who have been sharing the stories and tagging us, and our feeds have just been filled with a lot of love and support. If you have any ideas, Yaffa mentioned this before, of people who you think need to be represented in our stories on Faces of Orthodoxy, please send us a DM. We want this to be for us. I think that we said in the beginning of this live, like, this is really, we need to be inspired by each other. We need to support each other. I think this is a project that we can do that, as well as with a bigger mind, bigger goal in mind of telling our stories to the outside world. Because honestly, Yaffa, I know, was hugely involved in my Orthodox Life campaign this summer. That post that you did was, like, very viral. Am I right?
Yeah.
Wait, which post?
You don't know about my Orthodox Life, Shaindy, this summer?
Well, there's the Netflix show, and then there was a hashtag Orthodox Life, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So I made a post on it that went pretty viral. So that's what she's referring to.
I for sure saw it, but my goldfish memory doesn't make me remember. So
that's okay.
Remind me what it was.
Well, it was.
Yeah, go ahead. Yaffa, go ahead.
You can talk, Alex. I want to hear your perspective.
No. It's just really was a platform for us as Orthodox people to say, wait, we want to tell the world however much we can, whether it's on my Facebook feed, whether it's on my Instagram, what it means to me to be Orthodox. In face of, stories that really were making generalizations about Orthodox women and Orthodox Jews. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is when we started Yaffa, we had a meeting, we had to discuss, like, what's our response going to be? And we thought about this. We didn't think this is going to get out there. We didn't think that, like, we're going to make an impact on the broader community. And it blew up. There are thousands and thousands of posts all over social media platforms with the hashtag My Orthodox Life of people telling their stories. And that sort of,
it was pretty amazing.
It was incredible for this account. Like, what can we do? Not forget about the Netflix. We're past that. We're to continue to tell our stories. But I just want to say why I'm mentioning it, as I said, is the response of the the secular community, whether it's the non-Jewish community, non-religious Jews who saw our post, LinkedIn blew up. They saw it. They were reading. They were hearing our stories. Who would ever imagine that we could get out there and do that? So, we can't underestimate the power of social media and what we can do, as a storytelling device, I think.
But, it's interesting because now that we have these platforms, we have a right to use them, but we have to remember that we also have a responsibility in how we use them.
Correct.
Now that we can reach more people, and we have to be super careful all the time. The things we say, extra sensitive. Making sure. Of course, we can't be responsible always for the way other people interpret the things they read, because sometimes people see things the way they are. They don't see things the way it is, right? So we sometimes look at things from our own lenses. But generally speaking, to make sure to be so careful. And this is the greatness of a post as opposed to speaking. You can always proofread it. You can always make sure everything you're saying, everything you're doing is really aligned with Torah Hashkafa and is not, going to hurt people or hurt Yiddishkeit or whatever it is. So these are things that we have a big, huge responsibility.
Yes. Okay. Well, before we wrap up, are there any questions that any of you guys have to ask from any three of us or about the Faces of Orthodoxy account? I'm just going to plug it right here. You can follow us. We really hope you do. We really hope
or
you
about anything.
Stories.
Shoot away. Ask any questions.
Yeah, ask any question, guys.
Try us.
AMA, ask me.
Someone asked what the live was about.
Ish. I always put an ish. When I put like the question box, I always say, ask me anything ish. But you know why? Because there has to be boundaries. Ask me anything. Right.
So what we've been talking about tonight is why we should tell our stories. Again, we're launching Faces of Orthodoxy for those of you who are new storytelling account, really with beautiful photography, journal style posts telling the stories of Orthodox Jews. And it's important. We've discussed it. It's important to tell our stories however we can, keeping in mind our goal of Kiddush Hashem, and also finding the appropriate boundaries of not oversharing, sharing vulnerability to show that we're real, but not,
right. You see, that's why, Shaindy, when you asked before, to talk about our favorite mitzvah, which is something I love doing, and I do that often, to share favorite mitzvahs because it's important. But you know what else I try to do? I ask people to share their most difficult mitzvah.
Hardest mitzvah. Yeah, of course.
Right? Because it's very important, for us. Okay, we can share our most beautiful mitzvahs because it's really great to inspire other people, and that we can all connect together. Which mitzvahs do you connect with more, whatever. But we struggle with mitzvahs too. Every single one of us, no matter who we are, no matter how we grew up, there are certain mitzvahs that are hard for us to do, and we have to make an effort. And I think it's important to discuss that as well.
My favorite analogy is, the Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Have either of you read the book or are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
So the idea there is that we each have our own love language and how we express love to our loved ones, but also we have our own love language in terms of how we receive love. And I see that very much in our relationship with Hashem and mitzvahs. Like I have like a mitzvah. It's like my love language. It's like the easiest for me. It's most natural for me, whether it's like I love learning or I love davening. Chesed might not be my love language, but we have to try to work on it. It may not be like our natural fit, but it's a relationship with Hashem. It's the same idea.
That's what we're here for.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm going to shout out to my mom who said, and to inspire people. Yeah, I hope that is one of the goals here of Faces of Orthodoxy. All right. Looks like we're wrapping up. I know someone asked if they could private message us.
Yeah, I told them yes. For sure.
Always.
Oh, yeah, always.
I'm wondering if they're going to pop. Will you be able to see your DM on the live? Will it pop up for you?
Yeah, but I don't know if she meant that she wants to ask us specifically on the live or she just has something to discuss with us.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes, you absolutely can follow up. Yeah, Shaindy, can I offer?
Always.
DM to Shaindy, to Yaffa, to myself. Any other questions?
Let's see who gets back to you first. It'll probably be Alex.
Yeah. Well, this will be saved. We are putting it on our Faces of Orthodoxy account. We hope you come back. Well, if you haven't seen our post, go read all three about Batsheva. Brand new person on Monday. We're so excited to show them off. and share his.
I love what you're doing. I think
story.
It's a beautiful thing. I just want to end by saying I think there's so many different beautiful facets and aspects of what you're doing, and I love that it's not like, oh, we're here to show just the struggles. It's interesting. Was it your podcast that you had Sheer Lincoln Chaps on it?
Yeah, so I have a podcast, Deep Meaningful Conversations on Meaningful Minute. Check that one out. And yes, we interviewed Shirley and Chaps about vulnerability.
Right, topic. I remember that, and I remember even just looking at her, I was just like, I loved what she said, and I love what you guys said, and I love what this page sounds like it's going to be. It sounds like it's not just going to serve one goal, and I like that. It's serving a general goal, but within that goal, there are so many mini goals that can serve so many purposes for so many different people, and I love that.
Oh, I really appreciate that. We have lots of lofty goals, and we're actually sort of crazy because who has a target audience that's so diverse? How can you target from people, not religious people, not Jews, and speak the same language? So our goal and how we're going to do that is we're really showing universal stories. We're showing, you don't have to be Jewish to appreciate Bathsheba's story, where she's talking about juggling her work, her home life. These are all universal struggles and universal reality that's what connects us. We're humans, and that's what we want to show, is that humanity in the human face of Orthodox Jews, not stereotypes, not cliches, the real deal.
The real deal. And that also means, that balance between not striving for perfection, but yet not thriving in your imperfection.
Ooh, say that
one
more.
Yaffa has all these one-liners.
I need to start making T-shirts. Let's get these.
You need to make a separate page just of all your one-liners.
I'll tell you, thank you. I appreciate that. I always ask people when I speak, I always say, can you please write down if I say any good lines, because I want to remember them. So people give me notes afterwards. They're like, here are your lines. So no, but I really think it's important. I'm going to try to remember how I said it. The balance between.
She's such a genius. She didn't remember what she said. Go ahead.
Let's see if Hashem gives me the inspiration again.
Okay.
I said the balance between not striving for perfection while not thriving in your imperfection.
How do you thrive in your imperfection? You wallow in self-pity?
No, well, that's one aspect, being a victim. But but all of that is really connected to, we do live in a society where there is a tremendous emphasis on perfectionism, right? Everything has to look perfect and be perfect. And the truth is, in our culture as well, right? There's this level of perfection. We have to do everything perfectly. We have to look gorgeous, and our tablescapes have to be perfect, and our kids dressed to the nines, and everything perfect.
It's Erev
Pesach, exactly. But sometimes when we realize that we cannot reach that level of perfection, we somehow need to become that imperfect person instead.
Oh, it's so good. Meaning, I've heard this a lot. You don't need to show up on social media as a hot mess. Just because you're trying to
don't have to become a hot mess. You just have to be you. You just have to be real. I remember going to somebody's house once, and I'm not like this. I don't really, document everything I do to put on my stories. I just, I really try to be present. And I went to her house. I went to visit, and I think she's the type who really documents a lot. And I opened the door, and she's sitting with her camera. She's storying. She's like, "Look who's here!" And I was like, "Oh, hi!" So, but as I walked into her house, she was also there. She was backing up a little bit, and we walked into her kitchen, and she was still videoing, and she was like, "Oh," and she said this out loud. She said, "Oh, my kitchen's a mess. Should I apologize for my messy kitchen? Yikes." And I said, no, the whole point of being authentic means you don't apologize when there's a mess. But you don't necessarily also show when there's not a mess. You just live your regular life. Sometimes it's going to be a mess. Sometimes it's not going to be a mess. That's your regular life. But when we put in effort to be authentic, you hear the irony in that sentence? When we put in effort to be authentic, it's already not authentic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So that's something important to think about and to have in mind. We don't have to thrive on our imperfections, but we don't have to strive for perfection either. We just have to be our regular selves. And all of us, sometimes we have it together, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's who we are.
Okay. Well, I think you just sort of encapsulated everything we're trying to do here. So thank you, Yaffa. Thank you, Shaindy. You gave me a full hour. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to the over 100 people who joins with us from the beginning to the end on this live. I mean, so
I know. I'm so happy you're on here.
And there was such a consistent number. That was incredible.
Yeah, they're not leaving even. We've got 120 more. I think everyone needs to go to sleep at some point, but we really, really do appreciate it.
I'm so happy that you're all on here tonight, and I'm so grateful to both of you. Alex, thank you for inviting me. Shaindy, thank you for being my partner in this amazing live and in this amazing organization. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm not going to have time to speak after that, so... No, but thank you for inviting me. This was beautiful, and I love what you're doing. And
thank you.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Please stay. I just want to thank you both for really expanding this conversation to include real chizuk, real insight, real inspiration. You know, that's what this is about. We're turning this screen off. We're done. You're going to go check out Faces of Orthodoxy. Don't forget, check out Yaffa's page, check out Shaindy's page. But like, we just spent time discussing real things that can impact our lives in real ways. So thank you both for your wisdom and your insight that you've shared with us tonight. Have a wonderful Shabbos, everyone.
Love you all.
Thank you so much for joining.
Have a beautiful, uplifting Shabbos. Bye.
Bye-bye.